Hey guys, Keely Reason here, owner of Love Hip Adventure, where I talk about the marriage, relationship, intimacy, and marriage and how you can go deeper with your spouse. And today I'm answering a question from a reader who is going to be getting married in 2 months, and he has some questions about his wedding night time. So he and his fiance have not had sex at this time, and they are asking some questions about birth control options. He says, we both agreed that our first time we would like to avoid using condoms so that we have a more bare, natural, pure experience. She is not on birth control because birth control, she doesn't want it to wreck her hormones. She doesn't want to deal with weight gain and all the things that come from taking birth control. Definitely don't blame her. So, he says, we're both clean. We don't have any STDs or anything. And we want children, but just not yet. So, we're trying to figure out how to have sex without using a condom or without the pill and not get pregnant. He says he's worried that he won't be able to control himself and he won't be able to pull out before it's time. And she's not on the birth control. Oh, I already said that. So we don't believe in terminating pregnancies. We're both Christians. We want to do what's right. What do you suggest? Okay, so a few things here, and I know this is a hugely challenging for married couples dealing with birth control and what are we going to do? This is not just this is not just the wedding night that you have to think about birth control, right? You're going to be thinking about birth control as long as you are in a sexual relationship. As long as you're married, there's going to have to be different things you're doing if you don't want to have children at a certain time. But the first thing I want to say to you is that nothing's 100%. You can get a vasectomy, she can get her tubes tied even. These surgical options, and they're not always guaranteed. You can use birth control, you can do the pull-out method, you can do all of these different things. There's no guarantees that you won't get pregnant. The only way to guarantee you're not getting pregnant is just don't have sex. And so one thing that I always recommend to married couples is that you should not be getting married until you know you're ready to have children. Well, maybe not get married, but not have sex. So that was always taught to me when I was growing up, like, hey, don't have sex unless you are willing to have a child. Doesn't mean you will. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying here's the hard truth is that you have no idea the journey that you'll be on having children. You might be a couple that gets pregnant super easy and super fast. You might be a couple who deals with infertility for years. You might be a couple who has the first baby really fast, but then deals with secondary infertility and never has any other children. Or you have a late in life child that's got a large age gap. So, for one thing, as a Christian, I say, if the Lord chooses to bless you with a babies early on in your marriage, thank him for that. If he chooses to bless you later on, thank him for that. If he chooses to not, and that is not for you, be grateful to him for that. I mean, that is definitely a mindset to think about. Now, when it comes down to the practical things, if you're trying to go without condoms and birth control pills, there are other options. There are spermicides that you can use. I'll drop a link here in the video of a spermicide that you can try. Look, it's not 100%. And I went and I read the Amazon reviews, and a lot of people love it. Look, birth control works till it doesn't, and you're not going to know that it failed until you get that pregnancy test. If you are planning to do the pull-out method, this is going to protect you more, though, for sure. But don't think that you can't get your wife pregnant if you are inside of her and you haven't fully come yet, because a lot of people get pregnant from the pre-cum. A lot of couples do that. They use the pull-out method and they don't, they still get pregnant. Okay, so don't think that you can't get her pregnant if you get out in time before you come. That is really important to know. That is a good piece of education. Using a spermicide is going to help protect you. Now, some things to consider with spermicides. One, you have to give it time to work. So some people are like, well, you know, because you have to give it 20 minutes to like dissolve and work, then you can't be spontaneous with sex. First of all, this is your wedding night. It's not going to be spontaneous. These things are good for up to 3 hours. So you do have a window that you need to stick within. There are some other options you might consider that might feel more natural. There are female condoms that go inside. Just know that any of those types of methods, though, are going to require your wife to just practice and figure out how to make it work. It's like learning how to use a tampon for the first time, or if she uses a period cup or anything like that. There's going to be a learning curve, and she should definitely try it out ahead of the wedding night so she's not like being nervous trying to figure this thing out. Now, long term, I think you should come up with a solution. If you're not going to go the hormone route with birth control pills, just be prepared to do the barrier method, because that is going to be, you know, a way that you can help reduce your chances of getting pregnant. There's nothing that's guaranteed, but it can help reduce those chances. That's my, you know, recommendations for you. Consider the spermicides, see if that, hopefully that works for you. Have her try it out in advance. And then just come up with a long-term birth control solution after the wedding night. So get through your wedding night, but just come up with that long-term solution after, because this may or may not work for you long-term. Just be ready to try different birth control options throughout your, you know, married life until one of you decide to get a vasectomy or get your tubes tied or whatever, a little bit more permanent solutions. You're gonna need to have a real plan for this. So if this is just a wedding night experience you're trying to create, definitely use the spermicides to help, especially if you think you might not make it. There's the only way to keep yourself from coming right away is to orgasm earlier in the day. You know, try not to, like, don't hold it in, because otherwise your chances are going to go down. So that's my thoughts for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If anybody has any recommendations for this reader, please leave that in the comments. I'm sure they'd love to read it. Or any other questions, email me, keely@lovewithadventure.com, or fill out my anonymous questions form. I'll drop that in the video. Chat with you guys later.